Cindy up, so we gotta protect them and, uh-oh, too late.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I uploaded, but I just wanted to say thank you for all the support on the History of Mad Magazine video. Thanks to you all, it was a resounding success. It's currently the highest viewed video on my channel to date. A lot of nostalgic viewers shared their favorite artists, their favorite issues, eras, skits, and so forth surrounding the Mad brand. I was aware it was a cultural cornerstone, of course, but I didn't expect so many people to just come out the woodwork. They were enamored with this magazine. Really, Bill Gaines and crew had that generation like Nickelodeon and Disney had mine. And it was nice to see so many fans that were still around for it. Now with that being said, many fans noticed some pretty obvious inaccuracies in the video, and were quick to point them out to me. And I figured the best way to handle it was to make the corrections here, so that's what we're going to be doing. Going over some of the mistakes and their corrections, as well as some more in-depth looks at certain artists who were glanced over in the previous video. So stick around. Alright, first things first. The Poop Side Down Adventure segment in the September 73 issue is in fact not a parody of Airport. It's a parody of the Poseidon Adventure, another disaster movie of that era. The only reason I know Airport exists is because of Airplane. I do find it interesting that Mad was spoofing movies a few years before that became a big trend in Hollywood, thanks to the likes of like Mel Brooks or the Zucker brothers. And hey, a few issues later they actually do end up spoofing Airport. How about that? The character that appears in the Super Duper Man issue is named Captain Marbles. Shazoom is only the magic words to start his transformation. This comic came out back when the comic book character Shazam was still referred to as Captain Marvel.
What higher power do TV evangelists worship? I'll say God. I'll say Jesus. The almighty dollar!
I think it's important to discuss one of Mad's most contributing artists that I missed in the last video, Sergio Aragones. He is the second most contributing artist to Mad, working at the magazine for nearly 57 years and his art appearing for nearly 500 issues. Sergio came to the States in the early 60s with the intention of working in comics, and began shopping his portfolio around while working odd jobs to make ends meet, until showing his work to Mad magazine. His first work published in Mad being a collection of astronaut cartoons in issue 76. His marginals were a staple of the magazine for decades, and include some of the funniest gags I'd seen in my research. Mad magazine colleague Al Jaffe had this to say about Sergio. Sergio has, quite literally, drawn more cartoons on napkins in restaurants than most artists have drawn in their entire careers. That's some crazy work. Sergio was also quite savvy in dealings between workers for hire and the comic book publishing companies, allowing him to retain the rights of his character Gru the Wanderer, who has gone on to be published by a myriad of different companies from Image to Marvel to Dark Horse. He's considered a very prolific artist among many in Mad's history. Completely self-taught with no formal art education, he had the ability to pencil down characters within seconds on paper. It's no wonder why the industry and fans had so much reverence for him. Kinda crazy how fast he's going here though. Another staple of Mad magazine that was overlooked were the Mad Foldins, an avid feature of the magazine since 1964, which were created and drawn by Al Jaffe. Ironically, the Foldin was conceived as a one-off gag involving the affairs of Elizabeth Taylor. I thought to myself, now it's folded in, and I've got to have something on the left side here, and something right side here. And the only thing that popped into my head was that Elizabeth Taylor had just dumped Eddie Fisher, and was carrying on with Richard Burton. So I had Elizabeth Taylor kissing Richard Burton, and a cop is holding the crowd back, and just for the fun of it, I put Eddie Fisher being trampled by the crowd. What a cruel thing to do. And then when you fold it in, she's moving on from Richard Burton and kissing the next guy in the crowd. It's so simplistic and silly and juvenile, and anyone could have done it. 4 or 5 weeks later, Al comes over to me and says, "What are you going to do the next fold-in?" And I said, "I don't have another fold-in." That was it. So he said, "Come on, you can come up with something else." I racked my brain and the only thing I could come up with was Nixon, whose face was hidden within curtain folds. That one really set the tone for what the cleverness of the fold-ins has to be. It couldn't just be bringing someone from the left to kiss someone on the right. And just like that, the fold-ins become a staple of the magazine. A lot of these are very clever and subversive even now. My personal favorite being the fold-in that shows you how to get into organized crime. And lo and behold, you fold it, and there's the Capitol building. Hilarious. Al is also considered by many of his peers and many of you fans to be one of the greatest cartoonists of all time. His work is immaculate. I absolutely adore this style of cartooning. Peanuts creator Charles Schulz stated this when discussing him: Al can cartoon anything. That's pretty damn cool. Al Jaffe also holds the Guinness World Record for having the longest career as a comic book artist. In the 50 years between April 1964 and April 2013, only one issue of Mad was released without his artwork. But Mad had other recurring features in addition to movie parodies or Sergio's marginals. Mad had snappy answers to stupid questions written by Jaffe, or The Lighter Side Of, written and drawn by Dave Berg. The brilliant Mad covers were crafted by artists like Norman Mingo, who was responsible for crafting the iconic Alfred E. Newman design. He was Mad's oldest working artist until his retirement in 1979. Mad also had Kelly Freas, who took over the covers after Mingo briefly left to work in advertising in the late 50s. Jack Davis returned to the magazine occasionally to do movie parodies and covers as well. Paul Coker Jr., most notable for his art style being used in many Rankin Bass Christmas specials, was also a frequently contributing artist. You read through these pages and look at the level of artistry on display. There's no computers, no undo button. It's just pure cartooning with a monthly turnaround. Real professional cartoonists, spinning gold for literal decades. Some of you may have noticed my comment on the previous video lamenting that a specific skit from Mad TV had been scrubbed off the internet, and that there wasn't any DVD set that could be purchased that had the skit on it. I bought a Mad TV disc set for that season specifically and came up short still. For some reason, instead of including the full episodes of the season, it was an hour or so of the season's best clips, quote unquote. Well, I noticed a lot of omissions, most of them being my favorites, of course, and the Mad TV Jeopardy sketch wasn't on there either. Thankfully, a viewer actually had a TV recording of the episode, so I was able to watch it again after all these years.
Ken, he answered the question.
Because I was pretty positive that
I was everything.
Mickey's faithful canine companion. Rodney.
I know this. Davy Duck.
Did you just say Davy Duck? Who the hell is Davy Duck?
Okay, I forgot. Who the hell is Davy Duck?
No.
Oh my God, get it right, Woo.
You get this right. Who the hell is Donald Duck, Alex?
Thanks to Kev the Ripper for reaching out. Check out his channel if you like older TV broadcasts, retro commercials, and obscure television programming. You can still get new releases from Mad. It's about 6 issues a year now, which is not too bad considering the state of the comic book and magazine industry right now. It seems even now the old trash magazine is still kicking, and there's something kind of comforting in that.
We must all get ready now.